Hi guys, welcome to our channel. In the near future, with a new generation of soldier robots, a drone pilot is sent to a top-secret and strict officer for his mistakes, and they get a mission to save the world from the threat of nuclear war. Check the title of the movie in the description. A civil war engulfed Eastern Europe in 2036. Under the direction of the mysterious warlord Victor, American soldiers have arrived as peacekeepers, especially in the border region, where the rule of law is severely lacking. The Pentagon has chosen to send in Gumps, or AI soldiers, in response to Victor's meteoric climb to power. The team encounters an assault that destroys the robots, ending the Gumps' first mission. The field warriors are slowly dying as they attempt to hold the fortifications. As the fighting unfolds at the base, Harp watches from above, using the drone he pilots. He finds the entire affair to be somewhat mundane, as he has never been in a genuine war zone as a drone pilot. Out of nowhere, he spots an unidentified vehicle barreling at the soldiers. He informs Miller about it and asks for permission to launch a missile at the truck in order to destroy it, reasoning that it is a threat. Several of Miller's guys are still behind bars, so he brushes off the suggestion. Harp is furious and asks Bale to confirm the attack with their commander, Bryden, but he turns him down. The vehicle continues to scare Harp, so he disobeys orders and fires the missile nonetheless. The missile destroys the vehicle, killing a number of American servicemen, but Harp does not consider them casualties. Harp's decision resulted in the deaths of 2 soldiers and numerous robots, but it also saved Miller and 38 other troops, prompting Miller to defend his actions when the authorities bring him before the court-martial. The authorities believe Harp must see actual death in a fighting zone, so they send him to Camp Nathaniel, an American military facility in Ukraine. Throughout the camp, chewing gum can be seen, some of which even resemble dogs. Later on, Colonel Eckhart tells him that he will be able to return to the Air Force when the mission is over, but that his death will show others what happens when people defy instructions. He sends him to Block 13, informing him that the captain holds them in low regard. As Harp enters a facility, scientists are making and repairing Gumps rather than soldiers. Such robots are also common in this region. As he walks forward, he hears antique music. Following Eckhart's guidance, he follows the voice in the building until he finally manages to find Leo. Captain Leo, who accused him of being too cold, recalls Harp's dossier and gives it to him again. Leo then retrieves a few goods from the fridge and describes how they will be delivering vaccines to a clinic hit hard by the cholera outbreak as their next assignment. He explains that he is a part of Marine Special Operations, whose mission is to locate and seize high-tech weapons from rebels behind enemy lines. Harp wonders why a soldier of his rank would have so many ordinary files, but Leo explains that keeping everything on paper prevents Russian hackers from getting to it. The Russian warlord Viktor Koval was responsible for the bombing in Ukraine that killed more than 25,000 people. After Harp signs a non-disclosure agreement, Leo tells him everything about him. Victor intends to approach the Sistema perimeter, which has housed Russia's nuclear weapons since the Cold War's end, while militia fighters battle for Ukraine's independence. After administering the vaccines, they must determine Victor's next move to prevent him from using those nuclear bombs. Leo walks to the changing room, as they have to leave in a few minutes. As Leo reveals his true identity, Harp is shocked to discover that the captain is actually an android super soldier. Leo only gives him 60 seconds to come to terms with this reality, and Harp is in a situation where he has no choice but to accept him as his superior. On their way out, Leo informs them that he is not an AI like the Gumps and that their presence is discreet. Nevertheless, he promptly denounces his fellow soldiers when he sees them mistreating the Gumps. In addition, he discloses that Leo needed Harp's distinct viewpoint. Therefore he didn't send him only because he liked him. Miller and his henchmen brutally seize Harp, beat him, and mock him for killing their 2 buddies while he is preparing his possessions for the car. Leo separates them, and the gang departs before the situation escalates. After that, Leo and Harp get into the captain's car and follow a number of soldiers in armored vehicles. This implies that the region beyond the line, where the American force is constantly attacked, is not under their control. While traveling with Harp, Leo shows him a picture of his fiancée, which prompts Harp to make fun of Leo often. At last, they reach a poor region full of armed survivors, but they find that a looted relief truck is in their way. When the soldiers leave a few Gumps in their trucks to clear the way, the locals are thrilled about it and start throwing things at them. The moment one of them hits the Gum, the robot retaliates by firing back at the human. With a strategy already in place, Leo tells his squad to put down the weapons as the situation quickly gets out of hand. With his hands up, he approaches the commander, presenting a non-harmful demonstration of their desire to administer vaccines while lowering all of their firearms. They agree to pass through the area, and Leo agrees that if they get through safely, The locals can use the vehicle's supplies and food. Leo explains their objectives to Harp, who is perplexed because he thinks the US Army's job is to neutralize, yet these people are armed. Suddenly, a slew of people from the surrounding buildings opened fire on them. It turned out that the attackers were from the Krasny group led by Victor, and his troops deliberately blocked the way by ambushing the aid vehicle. A brutal gunfight ensues as the enemy discloses they possess specialized explosives to neutralize the Gumps. The attacks between the two groups become so intense that many surrounding buildings and walls collapse due to the deadly shots. Harp's first battle without a drone causes him to find the deafening noises to be a little overwhelming at first. The two escape the town with their possessions in tow and reach the countryside. As they go to their destination, Leo informs him that the Pentagon selected him because, unlike other blonde hotties, his face gives off an air of neutrality, which helps to calm people down. As they continue their journey through the forest, they keep coming across lifeless bodies. Without seeing that a man is after them, they make it to a refugee camp. As Leo gives all the supplies to a doctor, Harp sees the refugees struggling to stay alive and begins to understand the truth of the conflict. Suddenly, after getting permission to shoot, an attacker targets them, but a nurse is shot and killed. Chaos ensues, and they have enough time to save themselves. Leo shoots him with high skill so that he does not die because he is going to extract information from him. As he refuses to provide any information, Leo leaves the man to be avenged by the locals, so they attack him out of spite. When Harp attempts to call their boss for a backup, Leo warns him that they will only wind up in bureaucratic hell. The arrival of reinforcements takes 3 days, so the opportunity is lost. Then Leo says they're going to go in a resistance vehicle to get more information. At first Harp is hesitant to accompany Leo because he fears befriending the enemy. However, when the captain assures him that he won't survive if he ventures out alone, Harp decides to go. Leo reassures Harp that he made the right decision to fire the missile, saving 38 lives in return for 2 more. He then has Harp touch his icy arm, serving as a reminder that he is acting like a real man, and may, in some circumstances, defy convention and do what he wants. After a while, they come to a deserted town, where the only building is an orphanage where kids play with Gumps. There he meets his informant Sophia, and assures her that Harp is trustworthy. She is the leader of the resistance and reveals that Victor needs the secret codes to launch the nuclear bombs, and this town has them. She is clueless as to its whereabouts. Thus they will need to meet an armed dealer for details. In order to keep the orphanage operational, she offers Leo illicit weapons just before they depart. Sophia asks Harp for his thoughts on the work after Leo tells him it's his first day on the job, which irritates Harp since he makes deals like this. The Civil War didn't actually leave most of these children without parents. Following the American invasion, they found themselves without parental guidance. The group then goes to the market to find the vendor. The guard pretends as if the dealer isn't present, while Leo tries to force the dealer to unlock the door. Suddenly the guard finds himself under attack. Leo quickly incapacitates or kills all of the attackers with his powerful body, then he grabs the dealer and asks where the codes are. Someone else leaps over him, distracting Leo and giving the dealer time to flee. However, Leo tracks him down and gets him to talk. He admits to selling Russian Gumps to Victor and gives him the address of the bank that controls the codes. Because the dealer is a traitor, Sophia decides to murder him before the group leaves. After killing the last dealer, Leo steals his car and they go to that bank with Harp. When Harp insists on calling for assistance again and again, Leo confesses the truth. When Leo abandoned their intelligence research on the perimeter, the Pentagon planned to silence him because his actions were illegal. Since breaking the rules to catch Victor will only make Leo's situation with the higher-ups worse, he tells Harp that he's free to go if he doesn't think it's worth it. Harp decides to stay. He tells him that the Russians can detect his tracker's signal, and he must remove it before they reach the street with the bank. Using a knife, Harp gains access to Leo's complex system. He is surprised by how quickly the tracker self-heals once he removes it. When they reach the bank, they find a number of corpses at the entrance and several automobiles on the street, each carrying a dead body. They then equip themselves and go inside the bank. Leo ultimately gives Harp permission to call Eckhart and ask for help after the two stealthily kill an adversary and carefully enter the building. As soon as Harp spots someone, he pulls the trigger, but Leo quickly intervenes to prevent him from killing anyone. The building turns out to be holding prisoners. Then, after learning from an employee where the vault is, Leo orders Harp to keep the hostages safe while he goes for the codes. Following this, Leo ventures deeper into the bank, engages Victor's men in combat with his fists and weapons. A Russian Gump materializes out of nowhere, and Leo uses his weapon to fight it. However, Harp gives him a grenade, which he uses to kill out the Gump. After grabbing hostages, Leo keeps running through the corridors and meets another Gump, whom he quickly kills with a second grenade. In the meantime, Harp contacts Eckhart by phone to ask for his help. When he sees the US cars come up after releasing all of the detainees outside, he realizes that Eckhart merely sent Gumps and not human soldiers. He then sees the Russians appear with more detainees and a slew of Gumps, and he hears cries. As he tries to mediate peacefully, a Gump spots the hostages' plight and opens fire, leading to a gunfight between the two robot teams. After the fire kills some of the hostages who attempted to flee, Harp stealthily leads the remaining survivors into a cafe, allowing them to escape through the back entrance. Then, just as he was about to call Eckhart to inquire as to why the Marines weren't sent, he learns that a drone is approaching and that he must go immediately. Harp is opposed to the plan because Leo is inside while other people are still in the area. According to Eckhart, people are nothing more than collateral damage, and Harp was correct in his assessment. After passing many of Krasny's men, Leo finally identifies the one with the codes and persistently follows him until he finally kills him and drags his body down from the roof. Now he has the codes. While Harp is trying to save the life of the lone survivor, Eckhart orders the drone to fire, and a huge explosion occurs. A few seconds later, Harp emerges from the building, dizzy but alive, and discovers the streets engulfed in flames. Thankfully, Leo was able to save him after the explosion, escaping in a car so they could continue their expedition. Harp grapples with the guilt of operating those drones as his health improves. He finds out that Leo has the codes and urges him to call their superiors. Leo declines, prompting Harp to inquire about his reasoning. Leo claims he chose Harp over a human authority figure because the android backup mechanism allows him to ignore their poor decisions. Harp tries to stop him with human will, but to no avail. It turns out that the chip he took out of his body was really a failsafe device, an inhibitor, not a tracker. Harp, startled, lunges for his rifle to defend himself, but Leo, who is ostentatiously trying to save his own life, takes out a personal weapon and knocks him unconscious. Harp wakes up a little while later and finds himself close to another refugee camp when a handful of children poke him with sticks. When a strange van suddenly appears, Harp tries to get out of there, but the men catch him in the act and bring him to meet Sophia, the leader of the resistance. She informs him that the United States isn't a true peacekeeper and has been actively aggravating the conflict, so Leo will be taking control of the resistance's nuclear missiles and launching nuclear attacks on the US. According to her, the United States also experiences collateral damage when its drones attack surrounding communities, despite Harp's claims that the event is murdering millions of innocent people. After that, she allows him to go home since she thinks he is helpless. Leo and Victor occasionally cross paths, revealing their collaboration. However, Leo will not divulge the passwords to him, and neither would Victor reveal the location of the missiles when Leo inquires. Furious that Victor's Gumps attempted to murder him, Leo seizes Victor and uses him as a shield to seek retribution by shooting all the guys surrounding him. After that, Victor aims his gun at Leo, but he grabs a flag and uses it to kill him. He tracks down the nuclear weapons by analyzing the computers, so he goes to that area. That night, Harp goes back to base and tells Miller and Eckhart what happened.
Leo has the codes and he's going after the silos.
You did what?
Because I removed this failsafe. We don't have time for this, okay? We've got to find him fast.
Harp calls Bale and orders her to use a drone to track Leo as he drives close to the Russian border, if they are going to be able to stop him. After Eckhart points out that sending troops there might provoke the Russians, he volunteers to pursue Leo on his own. In order to harm Leo's prosthetic body, Miller gives him incendiary ammo that can penetrate armored vehicles before he leaves. After a while, Bale's drone stops seeing Leo, so she gives Harp the coordinates so that he can find the spot. Tomorrow morning when Harp gets there, he walks inside an isolated building and discovers that everyone working there has died. He even witnesses one worker's tragic fall to his death nearby, which gives him a clue as to where Leo may be hiding. After he cautiously makes his way to the control room, he discovers that Leo has already entered the codes. After that, Harp tries to go inside the nuclear weapons chamber, but Leo stops him in his tracks and slams him against the wall by the neck. Even though Harp uses his standard weapon to shoot him, he misses his target, and Leo manages to knock him out. Then, once Leo presses the codes, the drone immediately notices that the pit housing the missiles opens, and a countdown of 5 minutes starts. Harp comes and uses the special bullets on Leo, swiftly killing him and his android body. Then Harp tries, and fails to deactivate the codes. Leo reveals his plans, declaring his intention to initiate an attack on the United States to terminate the program that created him. He claims that the soldiers' dehumanization is intensifying the crisis. These days, the Gumps represent a never-ending war. Harp says he don't want any innocent people to die, so even though he watches the dispute, he lets Eckhart use the drone to hit the building. Leo explains that his goal was for the android super soldier program to fail, and he tries to convince Harp to dissuade him from preventing the firing of nuclear missiles. As soon as Harp tells Leo that humans can learn to do better, he leaves him, and Bale fires the missile that kills Leo, the building, and the nuclear weapons. They think Harp is dead for a moment, but he quickly tells them he's alive. They let Harp go back to his hometown to finally see his fiancée, now that he's a hero. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.